and welcome to Making FX. I've been doing a bunch of Planet tutorials recently, but also watching Murderbot, which is kind of fun and set on a planet with a ring, which is visible from the surface. So it seems like an obvious extension. But there's a slight problem. The really observant ones watching this will detect that I am, in fact, English. And well, to do a sky replacement tutorial, you need a clear sky. An event that happens so rarely here, it made international news. So I'm using pixels. I've got a bunch of great options, and I'll just pick eeny, meeny, miny this one. And now I have a choice. I could either use the camera tracker, or the track motion option, or Boris Mocha AE. For camera tracking, go to Window, Tracker, and in the pop-up, choose Track Camera, and let it run. This is a 4K video, which means there's a little bit more data to analyse, so it might take a while. Hold on, I'm getting a flashback to the past trauma of trying to track SD footage. All three tracking tools have their merits. For the rising shot, the Halo one, the distance was so great and the camera doesn't pan or tilt that you don't actually need tracking. Personally, I found with all the shots I was doing, provided I got a good camera solve, the camera tracker gave me the best result. It's arguably overkill, but that was my finding. After Effects should have finished analysing now. Let's check back in. There we go, a nice clear set of track points. And if I move my mouse around, you can see this triangle appearing as A tries to link 3 points together. And if you can't see a triangle, make sure the effect is selected. When you have a triangle that appears level with the ground, or lake in this case, single click to highlight it, and right click and choose Set Ground Plane and Origin. Setting the origin means that the point at the centre of the circle in the triangle will be at 0, 0, 0 in our 3D space going forward, and setting the ground plane will establish the angle of the ground. If I now right click on the same triangle and choose Create Solid and Camera, and then expand the solid on the timeline, you can see the solid's location and rotation are set to 0. Next, we need our planetary ring, and while I could be super lazy and download one from Production Crate, I won't, because they never give me a like or a comment on a video, so I'm going to make my own. Just like with the planetary rings tutorial, create a new comp, 2000 pixels by 300, and call it ring line, or something better. And then go to Layer, New, Solid, and make a comp size solid. And then go to Effect, Noise and Grain, Fractal Noise. Double the contrast to 200, and then expand Transform. Uncheck Uniform Scaling, and set Scale Width to 5000, and set Scale Height to 20. And you can mess with the evolution until you get a pattern you like. From the project panel, drag Ring Line onto the New Comp button. This makes a new comp with the ring line as a layer. Then go to Composition, Composition Settings, and change the comp's height to match its width, 2000 pixels. And make sure you uncheck Lock Aspect Ratio. And rename the comp to just Ring. Don't call it My Ring, as that leads to weird comments when you post a video saying, check out my ring. Now go to Layer, New, Adjustment Layer, and to this go to Effect, Distort, Polar Coordinates. Crank up the distortion to 100% and change the type to rectopolar. Then with the ring line pre-comp selected, go to Effects and Presets and search for Unmult and add this preset. This mimics the result of using a transfer mode like Screen later on. But if you're using the Advanced 3D Renderer, you won't be able to, hence using this preset. If you're not adding other 3D elements, then you can just change the renderer to Classic 3D, or you can stick with Unmult. So we now have our ring, and I can drag the pre-comp layer down to expand the radius. Back on the original camera tracked landscape comp, add your ring comp to it and make it a 3D layer. It's tiny. I could use the free normalized script from workbench.tv before this and make all the values more manageable. In fact, I will. I'll just delete the ring layer and rename the solid I made to ground, then go to Window, Normalize Track, JSX Bin. And in the pop-up, click the top option. Now all the values are a bit smaller, in this case about 4 times smaller. And when I add my ring again, there. Now it's a case of positioning it where I want. I will rotate the ring 180 degrees on the x-axis to hide the join, and I'll scale it up so we don't see the other side. To hide it behind the clouds gets a little tricky. Let's duplicate the landscape video by selecting it and holding Ctrl and tapping D, or by going to Edit, Duplicate. Hit enter and rename it to Luma. And solo it. Next, go to Effect, Keying, Keylight. And use the eyedropper to select part of the blue sky. Change view from Final Result to Screen Matte. And adjust the clip black and clip white until the clouds are very strongly white and the blue sky is quite black. And we're going to leave it as Screen Matte. If I were to use this as Final Result, let me demonstrate the issue. Even ignoring the odd colouring, look at how everything is juddering as Keylight attempts to produce the best key for that frame. But if we just use it as a screen matte, all that goes away. But because I'm using Advanced 3D Renderer, I cannot directly use a track matte for my 3D ring. And while I could just switch to Classic 3D, here's a workaround. Hang on, let me just check the beta notes. Nope, nothing about track mattes. In theory, I could at this point add the set matte effect to the ring layer and use that. But this applies before the 3D transformation. So instead, I'll select the ring layer and camera and right click and choose Pre-Compose. Which effectively gives me a 2D layer, and I can set its track matte to the Luma layer and change it to Luma Inverted. Those of you observant enough earlier might have spotted another problem. While keying out the sky meant we kept the clouds, we have an issue with the mountains. We could use a mask or a shape layer in the shape of the mountains, or even roto them for another new layer, but things in the distance tend to fade with atmospheric haze. So let's cheat. With the ring layer selected, go to Effect, Transition, Linear Wipe. Set the wipe angle to 0, and then increase the completion amount until it cuts off just above the mountains. And then feather the effect until it looks right. And then go to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, Fast Box Blur, and add 1 pixel of blurring. Then maybe drop the opacity of the whole layer to 80%. Because we have a pre-comp with our ring, making a reflection can be as simple as duplicating the layer, flipping its Y scale. But the water has not keyed brilliantly and is pretty boily. There's a couple of options here. We could tweak the key or create a separate water luma key. We could rotoscope or manually mask out the lake to create an alpha key. Either way, once we have the lake as its own track matte, we can add the reflection of the ring, fade it out, and then I added turbulent displace. No. And then used it to add some tiny ripples. And this all works if you're using images too. For Helios here, I desaturated it and used the screen transfer mode, and I also used levels to flatten out the shadows and light areas. And actually, while we're on this shot, I also added the cloud images, as the original was clear skies, and the clouds provided a little bit of realism, at least to my British eyes. So if you don't mind, I'm off to pop some vitamin D.